छन्दभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय
कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूते श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते मेरी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य
जय हो अमोहा जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच। बहुत सुंदर, बहुत सुंदर। मैं हमेशा आपको स्मरण करता हूँ और विशेष रूप से आप जब श्लोक बोलती हैं तो आप बहुत ही विशेष, आपकी जो प्रतिभा है वो दिखती है। ठीक है, आने हैं, मायापुर में मिलेंगे। मायापुर में मिलेंगे आपसे। हरे कृष्णा। So we will continue our discussion on the 18th chapter, Maharaj Parikshit being cursed by the Brahmana boy. But in this section so far, what we are seeing the glories of Krishna Katha and how Srila Suta Goswami is feeling enlightened, enlivened and elevated because of hearing Krishna Katha in association of Srila Shukadev Goswami. I will move forward. We did the 20th verse. I'll just repeat with the 20th verse. Etavata alam nanu suchitena guner asamya ananti sayanasya hita hitva itaran prarthayata vibhuti yasyangrinenam jushate anabhisho. It is now ascertained that he, the personality of Godhead, is unlimited and there is none equal to him. Consequently, no one can speak of him adequately. Great demigods cannot obtain the favor of the goddess of fortune even by prayers. But this very goddess renders service unto the Lord, although he is unwilling to have such service. Srila Sut Goswami continues to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says that he is unlimited. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. His qualities, his attributes are unlimited. Gune asamya. Asamya means which cannot be measured. According to the Shrutis, the personality of Godhead or the Parmeshwar, Parabrahman, has nothing to do. Okay, we discussed this, huh? You know this verse? Na tasya karam karanam na vidyate. He has no equal, nor does anyone excel him. He has unlimited potencies, and his very action is carried out systematically in his natural and perfect ways. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is full in himself, and he has nothing to accept from anyone else, including the great demigods like Brahma. Others ask for the favors of the goddess of fortune, and despite such prayer, she declines to award such favors. Prabhupada is giving some very insight information that others ask for the favors of goddess of fortune, and despite such prayer, she declines to award such favors. So whoever is worshipping Lakshmi, they will not receive it. But still she renders service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just think that those who are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what will be the natural sequence? that Lakshmi Devi will award, the goddess of fortune will award favor to them. She will not award favor to those who are averse to serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still she renders service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he has nothing to accept from her. The Personality of Godhead in his Garbhodakshai Vishnu feature begets Brahma, the first created person in the material world, and from his navel lotus stem, and not in the womb of goddess of fortune, who is eternally engaged in his service. These are some of the instances of his complete independence and perfection. The statement that he has nothing to do does not mean he is impersonal. He is transcendently so full of inconceivable potencies that simply by his willing, everything is done without physical or personal endeavor. He is therefore, what is the example of Krishna being Yogeshwara? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Tatra Partha Dhanurdhara. So what is a very precise example of Krishna being Yogeshwara? Yogeshwara, you understand, huh? What is Yogeshwara? Who understands what is Yogeshwara? Why Krishna is called Yogeshwara? And how he know that he is a perfect Yogeshwara? Wait, don't speak. I will ask, yes, you just raise hands. Kuber, what is means by Yogeshwara?
कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna. बोलिए, योगेश्वरा का क्या मतलब होता है? अरे आता है तो बताओ, नहीं आता है तो बोलो नहीं आता।
तो कोई
हाँ
नहीं आता प्रभु जी।
हाँ, जानना चाहिए। अक्षय, व्हाट इज योगेश्वरा?
कृष्ण मुझे
हरे कृष्ण।
जो नहीं पता।
देखिए ये हाल है। Who will speak? What is Yogeshwara? पुरुषोत्तम?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No, he is all powerful.
No, powerful what, sir? What is that power? Powerful is Shaktiman, na?
Means so he is all in all. Everything is coming from him.
That is Sarv Karan Karanam. That is not Yogeshwara. ना? भगवान कृष्ण के इतने सारे नाम है और हर नाम के पीछे कुछ ना कुछ फंक्शन है. What it means to be Yogeshwara? Pranav?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. He's mystic Prabhuji. Mystic Prabhuji. He can do some extraordinary works.
He is the greatest
Yes.
mystic. He is the
He's
greatest
a great-
mystic. And why he is called Yogeshwara here? Why is called Yogeshwara here? That Prabhupada has to use this term as Yogeshwara.
Exactly, I
There
don't know
should be
Prabhuji what.
obvious. Very disappointing. We're still absorbed somewhere else. We're not connecting with what we are performing or what we are hearing. Pradeep, why is being called Yogeshwara? Why Prabhupada is using the word Yogeshwara here in this purport?
Probably because he is unlimited and immeasurable.
That is not
There is-
Yogeshwara. That is not Yogeshwara. That means you have not understood what is Yogeshwara. Manini Mataji, why Krishna is being called Yogeshwara here?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। प्रभु जी,
कृष्ण।
भगवान सब योग के ईश्वर है।
हाँ, कुछ भैया जो बचे हैं उनमें से बता दो, नहीं तो मैं नाम लेके पूछूंगा। अब बोलो रविंदर, वाई इज कॉल्ड योगेश्वर हियर? सब कुछ इसी में दिया हुआ है, उसके बाद भी नहीं पकड़ रहे।
हरे
अब
कृष्ण
क्या?
प्रभु जी।
क्या?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी,
बोलिए।
the personality of Godhead is Garbhodaksa and distinct features beget Brahma without the help of goddess of fortune.
ये कोई कर सकता है? Can anyone do this? Can anyone bring a child without the help of a mother? Is it possible? हृदय लगाओ भैया, इधर इधर लेके आओ। अब बहुत पता नहीं दिमाग में क्या और कचरा चल रहा है, उधर ही रहते हैं। उधर से डिस्कनेक्ट नहीं होते, इधर कनेक्ट नहीं होते। 100 बार का है, कितने लोग नहा के बैठे हैं, स्नान करने के बाद कितने लोग बैठे हैं? कुछ लोग हाफ पैंट में बैठे, वो हाफ माइंड हाफ पैंट में, वो उधर ही रहेंगे, वो कुछ नहीं कनेक्ट होगा। अगर आप भागवतम को वैल्यू रेस्पेक्ट नहीं देंगे तो कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। तो मिनिमम है, ये शुड बी मिनिमम कर्टसी। देखिए क्या रेस्पेक्ट दे रहे हैं सूत गोस्वामी। हाँ, अभी इससे पहले वाले श्लोकों में हमने देखा, 18वें श्लोक में उन्होंने क्या रेस्पेक्ट दिया। हमारी यही समस्या है, हम अपने मटेरियल अप्रोच को कभी छोड़ना नहीं चाहते हैं और स्पिरिचुअल अप्रोच को कभी अपनाना नहीं चाहते। तो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होगा नहीं। मटेरियल मोड से या मटेरियल प्लेटफॉर्म से स्पिरिचुअल प्लेटफॉर्म टच होगा नहीं। स्पिरिचुअल प्लेटफॉर्म क्या है कभी जानेंगे नहीं। और फिर बोलेगा कि ये बेकार है, बोर है, हमें तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आया। समझ में क्या नहीं आया? कभी कनेक्ट ही नहीं हुए। सो प्रभुपाद इज very suitably, this say that he is transcendently so full of inconceivable potencies that simply by his willing, everything is done without physical or personal endeavor. इसका सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण क्या है? That he created Brahma out of his navel. He is therefore called Yogeshwara, or the Lord of all mystic powers. अथापि यत्पाद नखा अवस्तरम अवस्थिताम जगद्विरिंची उपहृतारहनाम्बः शेषां पुनति अन्यतमो मुकंदा को नाम लोके भगवत पदार्थः। Who can be the worthy of the name of the Supreme Lord but the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna? इसलिए पूछ रहे हैं को नाम लोके भागवत पदार्थः। Who can be worthy of the name of Supreme Lord but the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna? ब्रह्मा क्यों? क्योंकि जगत विरिंची उपहृता अरह अम्बः, that Brahmaji collected the water emanating from his nails of his feet in order to award it to Shiva as a worshipful welcome. This very water, the Ganges, is purifying the whole universe, including Lord Shiva. Shesham Punati. Shesham means the, what is it? Should be the head. The Sa Isham. Sa is, Isham is Lord Shiva. The conception of many gods in the Vedic literature by the ignorant is completely wrong. The Lord is one without a second, but he expands himself into many. This is confirmed in the Vedas. Anyone knows the verse? That the Lord is one without a second, but he expands himself into many. This is confirmed in the Vedas. Anyone knows this verse? That he is one, but he expands into many. बोलो ये फिलोसफिकल कंसेप्ट है तो कैसे समझोगे? हाउ विल यू बी कन्विंस्ड? The all problem is that we are not accepting that Krishna is supreme and we are subordinate. इसीलिए सारा स्ट्रगल चल रहा है. So you find out. If you don't know, I will not tell. You have to find out. Such expansions of the Lord are limitless. Some of them are the Supreme Lord Himself in full, and some are the living entities. The living entities are not as powerful as the Lord's plenary expansions, and therefore there are two different types of expansions. Lord Brahma is generally one of the living entities, and Lord Shiva is between the Lord and the living entities. Very beautiful. That the Lord Shiva is between the Lord and the living entities. In other words, even demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, who are the chief amongst all demigods, are never equal to or greater than Lord Vishnu. This is one of the 10 offenses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi, and the all-powerful demigods like Brahma and Shiva are engaged in the worship of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Therefore, who can be more powerful than Mukunda, Lord Krishna, and thus factually deserve to be called the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The goddess of fortune Lakshmi ji, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are not independently powerful. They are powerful as expansions of the Supreme Lord, and all of them are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and so also are the living entities. There are 4 sects of worshipful devotees of the Lord, and the chief amongst them are the Brahma Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, and of course there is Kumar Sampradaya also, descending directly from Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the goddess of fortune Lakshmi respectively. Okay, because the 3 are mentioned. So Prabhupada is speaking about them. Besides all the above mentioned 3 Sampradaya, there is the Kumar Sampradaya. This is Acharya. Never miss anything. Descending from Sanat Kumar. All of the 4 original Sampradaya are still scrupulously engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord up to the present day. And they all declare that Lord Krishna Mukunda is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there is no other personality is equal to him or greater than him. Yatra anurakta sahasa eva dhira vyapoya deha adishu sangamudam prajanti tad paramahamsayamantayam yasmin ahimsa upshama swadharmaha. Self-controlled persons who are attached to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna can all of a sudden give up the world of material attachment, including the gross body and subtle mind, and go away to attain the highest perfection of the renounced order of life, in which non-violence and renunciations are consequent. Very beautiful word. Yatra anuraktaha. So who can be detached? Who has attachment towards Krishna? And they are dhira. Dhira means who are self-controlled. And what they can leave? Vyapoya means leaving the deha adishu sangamudam. Deha, and Prabhupada is mentioning, is subtle mind. And everything which is relating to deha and also the manaha. And what they can do is brajanti tat param hamsayam antayam yasmin ahimsa upshama swadharma. Only the self-control can gradually be attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See how important it is. People do not have attraction for the Supreme Lord. What is the reason? Because they are uncontrolled. Their mind is uncontrolled. Their habits are uncontrolled. They have all lower nature. Only the self-control can gradually be attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Self-control means not indulging in sense gratification more than necessary. Such a complete process Srila Prabhupada is defining. Self-control means not indulging in sense enjoyment more than necessary. And those who are not self-controlled are given over to sense enjoyment. So dry philosophical speculation is a subtle sense enjoyment of the mind. Of the body and mind both is mentioned. What is enjoyment of the body? Is sense gratification. Now what is enjoyment of the mind? Is speculation. So every jiva is caught between these two. In the conditioned nature, the jiva is engaged either in sense gratification or he is engaged in mental speculation. Not even philosophical speculation. And he is trapped in material existence, life after life. Sense enjoyment leads one to the path of darkness, and those who have self-control can make progress on the path of liberation from the conditional life of material existence. The Vedas therefore enjoin that one should not go to the path of darkness, but should make a progressive march towards the path of light or liberation. What is the verse? Very famous verse. The Vedas therefore enjoin that one should not go on the path of darkness, but should make a progressive march towards the path of light or liberation. जल्दी बोलो, ये तो सबको आना चाहिए. Everyone should be knowing this verse. बोलिए. What is the verse, Priyanka? Very popular verse. Donika, what is this verse? Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya. इतना simple है. One should not remain in darkness and go towards light. Ramya is not hearing today. Dayashil?
Yes, she's there, Prabhuji. She is there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay. Pick up simple. Connect to the purport. Please try to connect to the purport. Self-control is actually achieved not by artificially stopping the senses from material enjoyment, but by becoming fully factually attached to the Supreme Lord by engaging one's unalloyed senses in the transcendental service of the Lord. The senses cannot be forcibly curbed, but they can be given proper engagement. Purified senses, therefore, are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This perfectional stage of sense gratification is called Bhakti Yoga. Such a beautiful definition. Purified senses, therefore, are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This perfectional stage of sense engagement is called Bhakti Yoga. So those who are attached to the means of Bhakti Yoga are factually self-controlled and can all of a sudden give up their homely or bodily attachments for the service of the Lord. This is called Paramhamsa state. Hamsas or swans accept only milk out of the mixture of milk and water. Similarly, those who accept the service of the Lord instead of the service of matter are called Paramhamsas. They are naturally qualified with all good attributes such as pridelessness, freedom from vanity, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, respectability, worship, devotion, and sincerity. All these godly qualities exist in the devotees of the Lord spontaneously. Such Paramhamsas who are completely given up to the service of the Lord are very rare. They are very rare even amongst the liberated souls. What is the verse? Such Paramhamsas who are completely given up to the service of the Lord are very rare. They are very rare even amongst the liberated souls. Anyone knows this verse? Yes, Purushottam Prabhu?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी मनुष्याणाम श्रेष्ठेषु कश्चित् एति सिद्धये.
Okay, very good. Yes, this is one of the verses from Bhagavad Gita, and there is one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam also. Anyone knows that verse? This is Mukta Namapi Siddhanam Narayan Parayana Sudurlabha Prashantatma Koti Suapi Mahamune. Manoram? Manoram Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, I am just opening this.
Mukta Namapi Siddhanam Narayana Parayana Sudurlabha Prashantatma. 6:14:5. Srimad Bhagavatam 6:14:5. Yeah. Can you just increase the font size? Very beautiful verse. So Mukta Nam Api Siddha Nam. Amongst those who are liberated, those who are unattached to bodily comforts or society, and those who have become perfect. So amongst them, those who are actually Narayana Parayana, those who have taken shelter of Lord Narayan, those who are devotees of Lord Narayan, they are Sudurlabha, they are very rare. Why? Because they are Prashantatmaha, they are fully pacified. Koti sa abhi mahamune. So amongst millions and trillions, you will find rarely one. O great sage, among millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayan or Krishna. Such devotees are fully peaceful, are extremely rare. Okay, go back. They are very rare even amongst the liberated souls. Real non-violence means freedom from envy. Prabhupada is giving revolutionary definitions. Real non-violence means freedom from envy. In this world, everyone is envious of his fellow being. But a perfect Paramhansa, being completely given up to the service of the Lord, is perfectly non-envious. He loves every living being in relation with the Supreme Lord. Real renunciation means the perfect dependence on God. Every living being is dependent on someone else because he is so made. Actually, everyone is dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. But when one forgets his relation with the Lord, he becomes dependent on the conditions of material nature. Renunciation means renouncing one's dependence on the conditions of material nature and thus becoming completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Very, very important purport. Prabhupada is defining everything so clearly. Now, what it means to be renunciate means renouncing one's dependence on the conditions of material nature and thus becoming completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Real independence means complete faith in the mercy of the Lord without dependence on the conditions of matter. This Paramahansa stage is the highest perfectional stage in Bhakti Yoga, the process of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Aham hi prishto aryamano bhavadbhi achakshasha atma avagama atrayama nabha atma samam patartinas tatha samam vishnu gatim vipaschita. O rishis who are as powerfully pure as the sun, I shall try to describe to you the transcendental pastimes of Vishnu as far as my knowledge allows. As the birds fly in the sky as their capacity allows, so do the learned devotees describe the Lord as far as their realizations allow. Beautiful verse. Nabha patanti atma samam patatrinaha. Nabha means the sky and patanti means to fly. How much the birds can fly? To the extent their wings have the capacity. So here it is being said, as the birds fly in the sky as far as their capacity allow, so do the learned devotees describe the Lord as far as their realizations allow. The supreme absolute truth is unlimited. No living being can know about the unlimited by his limited capacity. The Lord is impersonal, personal, and localized. By his impersonal feature, he is all-pervading Brahman. By his localized feature, he is present in everyone's heart as the supreme soul. And by his ultimate personal feature, he is the object of transcendental loving service by his fortunate associates, the pure devotees. As birds can fly in only part of the sky, similarly, the great learned devotees can only partly estimate the pastimes of the Lord in different features. Very important. Prabhupada is saying, similarly, the great learned devotees can only partly estimate the pastimes of the Lord in different features. In the morning, I had a class in Punjabi Bagh temple, and the chapter is that how Krishna teases Rukmani and makes her come to complete tears, and she completely crushes down. I couldn't. The analogy is given that Rukmani Devi is like a camphor, and Krishna's words are like a rock. So what do you do? If you want to get the fragrance of camphor, you have to rub the camphor against the rock or a hard substance so that it gets grinded. And when it gets grinded, the fragrance of camphor is spread all over. So Prabhupada is saying here, this point came in the morning, very bewildering pastime. Prabhupada is saying, similarly, the great learned devotees can only partly estimate the pastime of the Lord in different features. So Srila Sud Goswami has rightly taken this position in describing the pastime of the Lord as far as he has realized. Factually, only the Lord himself can describe himself. And his learned devotees can also describe him as far as the Lord gives them the power of description. The two verses together. Ekada dhanur udyamya vicharan mrigayan vane mrigan anugata shanata shudhita strishto bhrisham jalasyama achakshana pravivesha tamashama dadarsha munimasina Shantam Militalochana. So one story is being told. Once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, Ekada Dhanur Udyame. Dhanur is bows and arrows. Once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with his bow and arrows, Vicharan Mrigayan Vane. Vicharan means that he was wandering. And why he was wandering? Because he was following a Mrigayam, a deer. He was trying to hunt and catch a deer. Became extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty while following the stag. Stag is one kind of deer. While searching for the reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Samik Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes. So now comes the topic. Parikshit cursed by Brahman boy. So far, in first 23 verse, it is all about the glories of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is so kind to his pure devotees that in proper time, he calls such devotees up to him and thus creates an auspicious circumstance for the devotee. Maharaj Parikshit was a pure devotee of the Lord, and there was no reason for him to become extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty, because a devotee of the Lord never becomes perturbed by such bodily demands. But by the desire of the Lord, even such a devotee can become apparently fatigued and thirsty just to create a situation favorably for his renunciation of worldly activities. One has to give up all attachments for the worldly relations before one is able to go back to Godhead. And thus, when a devotee is too much absorbed in worldly affairs, the Lord creates a situation to cause indifference. Very important. Prabhupada says one has to give up all attachments for worldly relations before one is able to go back to Godhead. And thus, when a devotee is too much absorbed in worldly affairs, the Lord creates a situation to cause indifference. The Supreme Lord never forgets his pure devotee, even though the latter may be engaged in so-called worldly affairs. Thus, the Lord sometimes creates an awkward situation, and the devotee becomes obligated to renounce all worldly affairs. The devotee can understand the situation by the signal of the Lord, but the others take it to be unfavorable and frustrating. Maharaj Parikshit was to become the medium for the revelation of Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Shri Krishna. As his grandfather Arjuna was the medium for the Bhagavad Gita. Had Arjuna not been taken up with an illusion of family affection by the will of the Lord, the Bhagavad Gita would not have been spoken by the Lord himself for the good of all concerned. Similarly, had Maharaj Parikshit not been fatigued, hungry and thirsty at this time, Srimad Bhagavatam would not have been spoken by Srila Shukdev Goswami, the prime authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the prelude to the circumstance under which Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken for the benefit of all concerned. This prelude therefore begins with the word once upon a time, Ekada. So Prabhupada is emphasizing that how Maharaj Parikshit was used as an instrument to fulfill the order of the Supreme Lord, and how he became an medium for Srimad Bhagavatam to be revealed. So such a situation was created in his life. So this is the difference between devotees and non-devotees actually. Prabhupada is saying here in the purport that the devotees means that who are able to pick up the hint which is given by the Supreme Lord, that what the Supreme Lord desires of them. What others who are not devotees, they keep persisting their own way. They are falling, they are failing, they are lacking, but again and again they are not changing. They are not giving up their stubborn ideas. So here we see that although as a pure devotee, as a completely controlled personality, Maharaj Parikshit was never to be influenced by all these things of fatigue, thirst and hunger. but because it was the plan, so Parikshit became an instrument for Srimad Bhagavatam to be revealed. I'll stop here. Any discussion based on what we discussed today? सोनिका, आप हैं वहां पे? आर यू देयर?
यस प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्ण।
अभी तो तुम्हारा ऑफिस नहीं है ना?
छुट्टी लिए थे प्रभु जी आज।
Okay, Dayashil, tomorrow we will have the spiritual scientist course. Please give the invitation now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I'm closing. I don't see anyone's genuine inquiry coming for. So please sleep in time. Try to sleep before 10. So many times I'm telling you, but people are not changing. Neither you are sleeping in time, nor none of you are waking in time. Previously, Purushottam, you were showing 4 o'clock wake up, but now that is also history. You must try to come to the standard of waking up by 4. 4:30 is Brahma Muhurat, is half of it is over. You should be ready by 4:30. सुबह 4:30 बजे उठ के क्या कर रहे हैं? कोई बहुत बड़ा पहाड़ थोड़ी तोड़ लिया है? 4:30 is the time for Mangala Aarti, to be in temple hall. It's not a time to wake up. So sleep in time and wake up in time early and chant your rounds. अभी फिर देखने लगा हूँ, सुबह सबका नहीं हो रहा है. You all are not coming to in the morning. How many of you are coming for japa session every day? Raise your hands. Pranab, you are not able to come? कुबेर, आप नहीं आते सवेरे जप करने?
वो ये आज आया था, कब आऊंगा?
रोज आते हैं या नहीं आते हैं? आज आए से तो क्या मतलब है?
रोज नहीं आता,
क्यों, क्या करते हैं उस समय आप?
जप ही करते हैं।
अच्छा, आप अकेले ज्यादा जप कर लेते हैं? हाँ, आप लोग की जो भेद बुद्धि है ना, वो सुधरेगी नहीं. करोगे तो तुम्हें लाभ मिलेगा, नहीं करोगे तो वहीं रह जाओगे. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. ऑल ग्लोरीज टू दी